Hank's the family fixer, always with his tool belt. But living with prostate cancer, he needed help. He asked his doctor about Xtandi and enzalutamide. Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. Talk to your doctor and visit Xtandi.com.
Hey everybody, it's TRG, your favorite rambling gambler. I don't know if I'm going to talk to you before every episode of the Advantage Playback, but I want to talk to you before this one. We did Katie and Kyle as a deep dive show for a little while, its own podcast, its own thing, kind of its own island, and it was fun and clever at first, but as we all got smarter, to my ears, it got a little repetitive. It got a little generic. I didn't have the control over the voices that I wanted to have. It didn't have its own unique brand and feel. And so I didn't do as much with it perhaps as I could have or should have. Water under the bridge. What we have for you today is something a lot more advanced. I've learned a lot, and I have the ability now to take an episode transcript, and then from that transcript to write a script and take direct control with Python code of the voice AI. So these characters know who they are. They know what specifically they're talking about. They know the language of the podcast. They can, in fact, function as super fans and do a recap, an episode recap after each episode. And that's kind of the plan. But I wanted you to know, I wanted you to hear it right from me. This is not AI slop, as the new term is being thrown around. I didn't just throw a transcript in and boom, out popped this audio. This is the result of extensive work with the Gemini AI on a paid platform, then Python code, and every script is written by me and the AI in segments. I edit it, we do multiple drafts, I do multiple test reads, and then ultimately I hand it off for the sound itself to be generated, and then I pull it all together from multiple files, much like I do the normal episode of our Casino Combat podcast. So I think this can be fun. I think it can be valuable. I'm always amazed that I listen back to what has come out of this process, and I like it. And maybe none of you will, and if that's the case, then it'll quickly go by the wayside as well. But I hope you do. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find value in it. And I want you to know that what you have here is the product of a lot of human effort. This first one probably took more of my time than an entire full hour-long episode of our Casino Combat podcast. So without further ado, here is Katie and Kyle, back from hiatus, revamped, renewed, with a new focus on superfan review of a recently published episode, and I'm going to let them take it away.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Advantage Playback. I'm Katie, and sitting across from me in the virtual bunker, sounding sharper than ever in high definition, is the man with the math, the architect himself, Kyle.
It's good to be back, Katie. And you're right, the gear has been upgraded. During the hiatus, we didn't just sit around. We fortified the bunker, recalibrated the processors, and made sure the signal was clean. New mics, new logic, but the same mission.
I love the new crispness. It matches the pivot we're making. No more general noise. We are here as the ultimate superfans and analysts. We listen, we process, and then we break down every play for the squad. And today, Kyle, we are diving into the new episode that just dropped, episode 181, A Beginner's Guide to Winning the Game of Gambling.
A foundational episode. It's the perfect place to restart our analysis because it strips away the ego and gets back to the core concepts. TRG sounded like he was recording on the fly with half a page of notes, but the wisdom was dense.
He definitely had that lyrics dude energy going. He dropped Ava Max on us. If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast. To all of you who are fighting alone, Bae, you're not dancing on your own. Kyle, as the logic guy, how did that hit you?
It's about the squad, Katie. The casino environment is designed to isolate you. They want you alone, in the dark, fighting the math by yourself. But we have the collective intelligence of the Inner Circle and the Excelsior Brigade. We share the intel so no one has to fight the house without a shield.
Exactly. It sets the tone for the whole episode. No one is a rusty if they have the squad behind them. But let's get into the first real segment, questions my sons ask. We had a great prompt from Valley Nomad in the Slack lounge regarding TRG2, always be grinding.
Valley Nomad is a sharp player, but he fell into a classic advantage trap. He's been practicing TRG2 online and wanted to know if he could pivot to a 3-bet stop loss once he's up 5 units to recover after a loss. He's trying to engineer a safety net inside a system that already has one.
I felt for him there. You're up 5 units. You feel that win in your hand and you want to protect it. You think, if I just tighten this up, I can't lose. But Kyle, what does the architect say about tightening the leash?
I say you're suffocating the math. TRG's response was ironclad. If you're a beginner, do it exactly the way it was taught for at least 30 attempts. Not practice attempts, live casino attempts. Discipline isn't just knowing the rules, it's the ability to execute them when you're tired, when the dealer is fast, and when the cocktail waitress is distracting you.
30 attempts. That's a lot of table time for someone just starting out. Why is that number so significant for the system?
Because it filters out the noise of variance. Anyone can get lucky or unlucky over 5 sessions. At 30 sessions, the data starts to tell the truth. Valley Nomad wants to move to advanced mode before he's even finished the apprenticeship. TRG was very clear. Prove you have the discipline to record the results and stay focused on the 8 to 10 unit win goal first.
It's that logic over magic thing again. We think we can feel when a table is turning, so we want to change the exit strategy on the fly. But TRG spent 4 to 6 years testing this in Vegas, Atlantic City, Belosi, and Detroit. He's played it at $15 hands and $100 hands. The system is verified.
Right. If you change the parameters at 5 units, you're not playing TRG2 anymore. You're playing something else. And maybe that works, but it hasn't been tested over thousands of hands like the TRG2 always be grinding. Beginners need the visual roadmap. They need to prove they won't tilt.
And speaking of visual roadmaps, that leads us perfectly into the next segment. But we need to sit with this for a second. The friction here is between safety and edge. Valley Nomad thinks he's being safe. Kyle, explain why safe is often dangerous in a casino.
Because the house edge is a constant pressure. The only way we beat it is by maximizing our winning runs and minimizing our exposure during the grind phase. If you cut your wins short at 5 units because you're scared of a 3-bet loss, you're potentially missing the rocket run that takes you to 10 or 12 units. You're paying the tax of the house edge without staying long enough to collect the rebate of a hot streak.
The math needs oxygen. I love that phrase. It applies to the bankroll and the strategy. If you choke it, it dies.
Exactly. Stick to the plan. 30 attempts. Record everything. If after 30 attempts you want to tweak it, then we can talk about episode 182 and advanced modes. But until then, stay in the bunker and follow the Fred protocols.
Love it. Squad, don't try to outrun the math before you've learned to walk the floor. When we come back, we're going to talk about becoming a doctor of Stackanomics and why your chips are actually a calculator. We are back in the bunker. And if you're just joining the squad for this inaugural episode of the Advantage Playback, we are co-processing episode 181. Kyle, we're moving into a segment that TRG called the secret sauce of the entire casino combat system.
Casino wisdom number 60. Have a win stack. It sounds almost too simple to be a wisdom, but as TRG pointed out, most players have no rhyme or reason to how they handle their chips. They have a pile of random colors, and as they win or lose, they're just guessing where they stand.
He mentioned seeing players ask the pit boss, "What am I in for?" because they've lost track of how many times they reached for their wallet. That is the definition of flying blind in a storm.
Exactly. TRG calls himself a doctor of Stackanomics, and for a beginner, this is the foundational tool. The casino allows you to have an abacus right there on the felt. It's your chips. How you position them tells you exactly where you are in the game without needing a calculator or a spreadsheet.
I love the breakdown of the physical setup. TRG, being left-handed, stacks his 10-unit buy-in to the left, while the Radiant Goddess stacks hers to the right. But the key is that win stack area.
It's a binary system, Katie. You have your play stack, your 10 units of fuel, and your win stack, which starts at 0. Every time a hand ends, you rebuild that 10-unit play stack first. Anything extra goes into the win stack.
He quoted Badger Baron on this. It brings an unemotional calmness to the play. When you see those two distinct pillars, the degen voice in your head gets quiet.
Because the data is visual. If you're playing TRG4 and you lose the 1-unit bet and then the 2-unit bet, your brain screams, I'm losing. But if you look down and see 7 units in your play stack and 2 in your win stack, the math tells you you're only down 1 unit. It prevents the tilt that kills so many sessions.
And it's a built-in exit signal. If that play stack keeps shrinking and there's nothing moving over to the win stack, the abacus is telling you it's time to wrap up.
Right. It removes the ego. You aren't guessing if the table is cold. You're seeing that your transaction is currently unfavorable. Even for bubble craps or electronic games where you don't have physical chips, TRG suggests bringing buttons or pennies to maintain that visual roadmap.
It's about instinct. As a beginner, you need that visual center to stay disciplined. Kyle, what's the technical takeaway here for the squad members who think they can just do the math in their head?
Don't. Even the best human processors get fatigued in a loud casino. Using physical stacks offloads the cognitive load. It lets you focus on basic strategy while the stacks handle the accounting. Become a doctor of Stackanomics before you try to be a pro.
Foundational wisdom. When we come back, we're going to throw some concepts into the mental blender and talk about the hard truth TRG delivered to the squad regarding our own worth at the felt. We are deep into the co-processing now, Kyle. We've moved from the technical layout of the chips to the psychological layout of the player's mind. TRG threw a few things into the mental blender for this moment of concepts.
He combined core concept number 7, the long game, with casino wisdom number 42, have a winning mindset or don't gamble. And he added the action rule, wisdom number 77, if you don't ask, you don't get.
And then he dropped the hard truth. He called out the squad for having imposter syndrome. Kyle, as the architect, you deal in raw data. Does the data support this feeling that most players aren't good enough for comps?
Negative. It's a total system error in the player's logic. Most players think they need to be betting purple chips to justify a free meal or a room, but TRG point blank said, y'all think your play doesn't justify comps, and it couldn't be further from the truth.
He's been a casino host for over a year now, and he's seeing the back end. He's seeing that the house wants your play in the building. The imposter syndrome is just a barrier we build that prevents us from following the 8th core concept, the offset.
Right. The offset is foundational. If the math hits you with a losing month, the comps, gifts, and experiences are what keep the yearly EV positive. If you're too intimidated to ask, you're leaving your rebate on the table.
I loved his breakdown of how to get over it. You have to believe it's possible first. You have to be willing to be told no, because the ask is a negotiation.
It's about being compable. He gave great examples for the beginners, like Professor Porsche and Lady Mac in Niagara. They went in hoping for a casino rate and walked away with a fully comped stay because the occupancy and their play history aligned.
And even when it's a no for property A, it might be a yes for property B. TRG mentioned his own experience with Seneca Allegheny. They couldn't do the comp there, but offered a different property with a better deal.
Exactly. It's a conversation, but you have to feel qualified to be in that conversation. Whether you're an average $15 player or a high roller, the goal is the same. Get the transaction set up for success.
I hope he's not a scary guy to the squad. He knows the Fu Manchu mustache and the intimidating casino persona can be a bit much, but at the keyboard, he's just the squad's advocate.
He's a filter. If you want to stay at Caesar's Palace, but your play only justifies a comp at the Flamingo, he's going to tell you that straight. He'll build you a stay that mixes properties so you can see Fremont Street and still get the value.
Amen to that. Squad, get in touch with the man. His email is trg@casinocombat.com, and we all know combat is spelled with a K. Don't exaggerate your play. Don't sugarcoat it. Just be honest so the architect can map the best path to a free steak dinner.
The first step to winning the long game is realizing you deserve to be at the table. Get over the imposter syndrome. Follow wisdom number 77. Make the ask.
Love it. When we come back, we're heading to the virtual VIP lounge for a story about TRG's very first ask at the old Imperial Palace. You don't want to miss this one. We have made it to the inner sanctum. Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the bunker version of the virtual VIP lounge.
It's a bit of a dry run for me today, Katie. I'm sipping on some Fiji water in the virtual bunker, but it's been an absolute blast jumping back and forth between these mindsets to co-process this inaugural session.
I'm with you. TRG took us back to a different era for his final story, the early 1990s at the Imperial Palace. Kyle, for the younger members of the squad, set the scene. This was before the big corporate algorithms took over, right?
Exactly. Every property was practically its own island. No kiosks, no reward cards to swipe, and no checking your points on an app. It was all relational and transactional. The pit boss was the king of the mountain, making manual notes in a physical book based on what he saw you doing at the felt.
TRG was a newlywed on his third or fourth trip. He didn't have the 8 core concepts yet. He was playing on instinct and a few books he'd read. But he decided it was time to test the ask.
It was a masterclass in acting like you've been there. He saw the pit boss shift change happening and realized he needed to make an impression on the new guy. He switched to green chips, probably the first ones he ever played, to catch the boss's eye.
His wife, the radiant goddess, was terrified. She had total imposter syndrome, telling him he was being unrealistic. But TRG had that bare muscle confidence. When the boss came down, TRG didn't beg. He just pointed out they'd been playing a while and asked for a comp to the cafe for some late-night breakfast.
And because he'd moved those green chips and played in good faith, the boss didn't even blink. He wrote out a slip for $30. In 1993, $30 for 2 people was more than enough to grab steak and eggs, an omelet, and even a mimosa.
That is the ultimate proof of wisdom number 77. If you don't ask, you don't get. He didn't win a fortune at the table that night, but he won the transaction by securing the offset.
It's the perfect lesson to close out this session. The engine is stable and the logic is verified. Whether you are a beginner or a veteran, the core concepts remain ironclad. As the man says, the house owns the math, we own the transaction.
And part of that transaction is the mandatory responsible gambling disclosure. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit your state's specific helpline. If you don't know the number, email help@casinocombat.com and the squad will find it for you. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Shout out to today's artist, Ava Max, and that lyric, to all of you who are fighting alone, you're not dancing on your own. 2026 Volcanic Dingo LLC, all rights reserved. Execute the plan, trust the core concepts, stay out of the noise, and always spell concepts with a K.
I hope you understand. He was born a rambling man. Goodbye, everyone.